Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of your UFC slash MMA hot takes. As always, if you want to be in these videos in the future, make sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure you're always in the community page, or you can go on Twitter and follow me there at Kindle with a 1, KYND1E, so that you're always notified and you always have a chance to be in these videos in the near future. I know I look different with a shaved face and a quick good old lineup, because I'm out here just getting the ladies, if you know what I mean. I have a girlfriend, she watches my videos, so I gotta make sure I keep myself in check for a little bit. But let's not waste any more time and let's get right into these hot takes. Starting off with, we have interim champions should be recognized within the championship lineage. Too many times fans dismiss a fighter because he was never a undisputed champion, but I disagree firmly. I think these fighters get too much respect for being an interim champion. They're never champions. I know that it's a whole argument and that you should kind of recognize their achievements, but I hear all the time by the UFC, oh, a former interim champion. Like, no, you basically got the belt from circumstance. You didn't get it because you beat the number 1 guy. You got it from beating the number 2 guy, the number 3 guy, number 4 guy. You didn't get the belt by beating the actual champion. Therefore, you are not the best in the world, and the championship belt is meant for the best in the world in that weight class. So we kind of shouldn't really ever give these guys championship credit. Can they be recognized as great fighters, as guys who went on great runs in their division, as potential top fighters in their weight class? For sure, and they will definitely get their flowers from me if they do deserve it. But I will never call them a champion because they never actually beat the champion. You know what I mean? And the UFC kind of needs to stop recognizing these guys as champions. And fighters themselves need to stop calling themselves former champions when they never actually held the real thing, the undisputed belt. And I know that we should kind of give these guys their respect because, being an interim champion is still a great achievement in somebody's career. But in terms of putting them on a GOAT list or trying to decide who they're better than or comparing them to other fighters, I think interim belts kind of need to be put on the wayside here. It to me just isn't a credible thing. It's just not as good as the actual real belt. But a good take. Thank you. Moving on. Jon Jones is the most overrated athlete in the GOAT conversation. Now, this one I haven't really thought too deeply about, so I'm kind of giving you my initial thoughts right here out the gate. And Jon Jones has always been a great fighter, and he's obviously the GOAT if you do count PEDs into your criteria for a GOAT list. But I think that you can't really say that he's overrated because he's never lost. The guy has never lost ever in his career, even though he had that 12-6 elbow disqualification against Matt Hamill, who was deaf. I don't know. I can't really. Obviously, that isn't a loss. It technically is a loss on his record, but it's not a. Nobody views it as a loss. But he came back after a few years off, maybe serving a USADA suspension. Who knows? That might be the case there. He might have popped for something and then took time off and just made the full commitment to going to heavyweight. But I just don't know if I can call him overrated. I think towards the end of his light heavyweight run, that's where we kind of see where Jon Jones might be a bit overrated, in my opinion. He kind of lost to Dominic Reyes. Let's be real here. I think he lost 3 rounds to 2. He didn't look good against Thiago Santos. Didn't look that great against Anthony Smith. Like, he wasn't really the most dominant champion we've ever seen. He was winning fights, clearly, but he wasn't like the mega Jon Jones, the ultimate destroyer, the baddest man on the planet Jon Jones that people hype him up to be. So I can kind of see where you would overrate him, because I think towards the end of his light heavyweight run, he wasn't the baddest man on the planet. He was winning fights and he was still arguably one of the GOATs, but he wasn't the huge monster people were making him out to be. And I kind of agree with that, but I don't think he's overrated entirely because you can't really overrate a GOAT. I don't know. It's just kind of weird, but I do see where you're coming from. And I think at points in his career, people definitely overrated him. But as Jon Jones as a whole, I don't think he is overrated, because what can you really knock this man for besides losing to Dominic Reyes, which I guess right now, at the time I'm making this video, it kind of looks like a bad loss, but win, because he did win technically. But right now, it looks kind of weird that him having that close of a fight with Dominic Reyes, because Reyes has gone on to pretty much get demolished and get his chin absolutely taken from him by Jan Blachowicz, by Ryan Spann, and by other fighters as well, as Yuri Prohaska as well. So it's like, I don't know. John Jones, yes, kind of overrated, but at the same time, not really overrated. Israel Adesanya will never win another fight in the UFC, and this one is really difficult for me because I can see a path. I can see a way where Israel Adesanya just goes on a massive losing streak and we'll never see him win another fight, and he retires early because he can't win again. He wants to be champion. It's that whole mindset that fighters have where they're like, well, if I can't be champion, why am I even fighting? And I can see that mindset kind of pouring into Israel Adesanya as well. But he is Israel Adesanya. Like, he is one of the best middleweights of all time. As much as I don't like his personality and who he is as a person, I have to give him his flowers and give him that respect that he is one of the best middleweights of all time, or one of the best middleweights to ever do it. But let's kind of break this down for a second. If we give Adesanya maybe a Duplessis when he returns back, because obviously he's taking some time off. So if he ends up fighting Duplessis when he comes back and loses, after that, what's next for him? Maybe a Hamza. Like, there's really only dangerous matchups left for Adesanya. People who have a real chance of beating him are the only ones he could probably fight now at middleweight. You know, middleweight's getting better as a division, surprisingly. It used to be very trash, but I think now with the new up-and-comers, the new risers in the division, it's becoming a more difficult division to be successful in. And I think Adesanya, he's only getting older. He's only aging in his career. He definitely got kind of exposed against Sean Strickland. I think a lot of guys at middleweight could possibly catch him. And Dricus could catch him. Chimaev's a grappler who can also strike. He might catch him. You know what I mean? There's definitely some guys who can give Adesanya troubles, but I think Adesanya will go out on a high note. I think if he does retire, he will retire on a win, not a loss. And I think he'll just fight until he just wins a fight eventually. I don't know. But I can definitely see a path where Adesanya has a very difficult time and he ends up going on a massive losing streak and maybe retires a bit early because he can't win a fight at middleweight anymore. We'll see. I wouldn't bet on it. If I had to put money down on this, I would not bet this at all, but it certainly is a high possibility. If Charles Oliveira fought Conor McGregor, he would get slept. And no, I don't agree with this at all. I think if Oliveira and McGregor happen to fight each other, I would take Oliveira all day. Easy money, in my opinion. I think he would absolutely dominate McGregor. I think he would take the punches, and I think he would get the back and probably choke out McGregor at some point. I think Oliveira's ground game and his jiu-jitsu mastery poses too much of a threat to Conor McGregor to deal with, but I can see McGregor possibly touching Oliveira at some point with his hands. Oliveira does have some pretty sus striking defense at times, so I can probably see Conor rocking him at some point and possibly dropping him. But I think as the fight goes on, we're only going to see Conor gas more and more. He's coming off one of the biggest injuries in MMA history. Conor is definitely sauced up now, so maybe he might have more power than what he typically has, and he might put Oliveira out cold. I don't know. I mean, it kind of depends when this fight actually goes down. If this fight happens maybe in like 2 years, when Conor is like still sauced up and Oliveira's been put out cold, you know, maybe once or twice, maybe we might see Conor actually sleep him. But I think in terms of right now, I would take Oliveira all day to actually finish Conor McGregor. Sadly, I like Conor, but I love Oliveira a bit more, and I think he poses a bigger threat than anybody that McGregor has ever fought in his career. I think Oliveira would be his toughest test to date if they fought like tomorrow, obviously. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching this video up to this point. If you want to be in these videos in the future, again, subscribe to the channel and go to my community tab, and you should be able to comment your hot take there. Also, you can go on my Twitter at Kendall, KYND1E, Kendall with a 1. Follow me on Twitter and reply to my tweets that I send out weekly on Thursdays, or no, sorry, on Friday mornings. Reply to those, put your hot take in, and bam, you have a very high chance of being in these videos in the future. So if you want to see more, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. But I'm out of here. Peace.